So, what does emotional wellness mean? That's your question. What does emotional wellness mean? That's a very, very good question. The number one thing we need to discover is, am I really communicating with myself emotionally? That means when I have a certain emotion, when I have a certain feeling that comes up, do I actually feel the feeling? That's step one. When it shows up, do I validate that the existence of this feeling is something that could lead to a good step for me? Number three, do I take the feeling and feel it? A lot of times a feeling comes up and we don't even feel it. We want to depress it, suppress it, put it somewhere so we don't feel it. And number four, after we feel the emotion, do we realize that every feeling comes from a flow of thoughts, and that we decided to keep that thought and therefore it produced that emotion? So feelings are pretty much similar to the nervous system. When you touch a hot, your nervous system tells you that you just touched something really hot and it pulls away. And when you touch something cold, it pulls away, or you might want to get closer to it based on how your body temperature is. So feelings are not facts. They are not facts in their own, on their own. Feelings are not facts on their own. They are results of the thoughts that we have. So if I think of myself as someone who is respected, immediately the emotion I'm going to get is this great proud feeling, right? That's how feelings work. Now, if you talk about someone who's emotionally healthy, it means that that person has developed enough thought patterns that lead him to have healthy emotions, has developed enough healthy thought patterns that also produce healthy emotions. And when he has those emotions, he's able to validate them, accept them, affirm, and continue to move on. But the key to healthy emotions is to learn to give ourselves healthy thought affirmations. Affirmations means very simple. I am well. I am healthy. I move forward with ease. I am disease free. I can do it. I am capable. That's very different than saying I will do it. I will be capable. I was capable. Or I can't, or I am not, or I am diseased, or I am this, right? All the labels we give ourselves, our brain is very label sensitive. That means every thought that we give ourselves, our brain takes it and turns it into an emotion, and as a result the emotion becomes a part of our fiber of what we feel inside. So it's important that we become sensitive to the labels that we give ourselves. And trust me, there's so many labels we have inside our head that we don't even realize it. With the media, there's so many labels coming our way. With the way we grew up, our parents, our surroundings, the way we look at ourselves, the way the society reinforces things, the way when we feel like I felt like a failure. There's a story, and I'll tell you this and I'll end with this. There's a story about a man in the Talmud that is a spiritual giant. He's a guru. They come to him and they said, let me ask you a question. Tell me, you're on such a high spiritual level and you're able to affect people's lives in such an amazing way, and we've heard so many great stories about the miracles you do, the miracles you do to help people. Tell us, what merit did you have? How did you reach this stage where you just came to this point? And then the answer he gives is, well, in my life I never gave anybody a label. And that was his motto. Now that means also he never gave himself a label, because if you're not going to give it to somebody else, you also have to avoid giving it to yourself. What that really means is that he decided that he wants to live a unlimited type of view. He wants to live a life that his view of himself is unlimited, which means he's not going to limit himself by a label. So if someone says, I am lazy, that's very different than when you say, one of my characteristics is that I behave lazy. Right? It's very different. I behave lazy is very different than I am lazy. Growing up, most parents tell their children, hey, don't do that, you're going to be a bad girl, right? Be a good boy, eat your food, right? Those labels that we're giving, the conditions that we're setting is, if you don't eat your food, you're not a good boy. Whereas if we were to say, I want you to behave in a good fashion, or I want you to hold your hands to yourself and do not hit him because that would be considered a bad behavior. You see the difference? We need to separate our behavior from our label of our being. And it's so important because we don't even realize it. All day long we're giving ourselves labels. I woke up late from sleep, therefore I am lazy. That's a label. My name is Shahin Jedian, a Los Angeles hypnotherapist.